back to my channel. I'm Tanya Ray, and today we're doing a Goddess Day, Day of the Goddess reading, aka Friday the 13th. And if you came to this reading thinking, what the heck is Goddess Day? Well, you might want to go check out my last post because I talk about Friday the 13th and some of the myths around that and why we might fear it, as well as another way that you might want to look at it, which is a day of celebrating our feminine energy and maybe even calling in some abundance and manifestation. We'll see. So, like I said, this is a pick a card reading, and before I get started, please keep in mind that this reading can be timeless, so if you are being drawn to it at any other time than a Friday the 13th, that is okay too, because there might be something in it. I always urge people to trust their intuition on these things. The other thing that I want to say is, in trusting your intuition, don't make something fit that does not feel aligned to you. However, if you're not new here, you've heard this spiel before, I always say, do pay attention to anything that you might feel particular resistance to, because it could be telling you something about something you might want to take a deeper look at for clarity purposes and healing and all of those things. Again, this is not me trying to convince you that I'm right and you're wrong. I always want you to take your own intuition over mine, especially because this is a generalized reading. All right, before we get started, it's time to pick your pile. On the first pile, we have an Angel Aura Quartz, and it's actually green and blue, but it's hard to see in this lighting. I apologize for that. On the second pile, we have a Peach Moonstone. Third pile is an Amethyst, and fourth pile is Citrine. All right, if you need more time, please pause. Welcome back, Group 1. This is your reading if you chose that beautiful Aura Quartz right at the top there. This is one of my favorite crystals because it helps us to speak from the heart. As you can see, it's both green and blue, so it can represent the heart chakra as well as the throat chakra and being able to communicate and express clearly, as well as to receive information and perspectives from others in an effective way. So effective communication is basically what I'm saying, as well as it's great for helping to connect to higher self and higher realms. So with that said, let's see what the cards have to say for Friday the 13th, aka Goddess Day. And we're starting out with the Four of Swords. You're being asked to rest on Friday the 13th or somewhere around there. Is there something that you've been trying to create that hasn't come into fruition yet? Maybe you're second guessing whether or not it's the quote unquote right thing for you. Well, sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is take a break and quiet your mind. If you need more sleep, allow yourself more sleep. If you feel like spending some time in meditation, do it. This message is clear. Give yourself some downtime and stop trying to force things. It's about getting into quiet a little bit more over Friday the 13th, or if you can't on that day, on the weekends. Some of you might actually be feeling a little bit more groggy or tired, or just like you've been doing too much lately, and that might be a little bit understandable. So then we have the Page of Swords, and this is indicating that You will not be sorry if you let yourself have that time out, because you'll be rewarded with a new perspective, idea, and some clarity on something. So it's perfectly fine and reasonable to set the intention around what you want to receive for clarity in your life, but as the Four of Swords said, don't try to force it or control it too much. Allow it to flow in, and also allow yourself to express it. Not necessarily are you going to be speaking it off from the rooftops, but allowing yourself to actually embrace this new idea and share it, communicate it, because communication is really feeling like something that's important to group one, and this goddess day, if you will, is helping you to open that up a little bit more. And then we have Miss Justice herself. The clarity that's trying to come in for group ones is clearly about speaking up and standing in your truth. Like I kind of just said, I think. Sometimes it can be really challenging to allow ourselves to see, let alone express, our deepest truths. But this is what you're being asked to do, or what the message is. Because remember that anything that is out of balance in your life, be it words versus actions, or focusing on things that are not truly in alignment with you, will eventually come to light. The scales always tip back to balance. I'm also feeling like some of you are about to receive some confirmation on something that you've been pondering for a while, and things are coming to light on the situation that you had a hunch about, but probably second guessed it or sort of shoved it away, thinking, no one else is picking up on this, so it must not be true type of thing. It feels like in regards to other people. So just be aware of that. That truth is going to come to light. Your own truth is going to come to light if it needs to as well. But this message is a little bit separate to that, that something that you had an intuition about is about to be confirmed. And the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, another confirmation that anything that needs to be put back into balance will be. But the Two of Pentacles is largely about our resources, time, money, and energy. How are you spending them, and are you spending them wisely? This, in combination with anything you are not sharing that is aligned with your highest truth, could be the block you're experiencing in receiving clarity and or seeing your manifestations come into fruition. Goddess Day may be trying to illuminate the truth around if and why you are giving more of your energy, time, or money than necessary or healthy to certain aspects of your life. Because the truth is, a lot of the time we don't even realize why we are doing it. We believe something that simply isn't true, like we have to do this and we have to do it this way. Also, the Two of Pentacles wants to remind you to incorporate some grounding practices into your day. This will help you to build solid foundations rooted in the truth and restore balance in your life. And finally, for the tarot cards, we have Queen of Cups, Miss Queen herself. Don't worry, group ones. Looking at these things is going to pay off with abundance and flow. So if some of this felt a little bit heavy or a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this, it is going to pay off. The Queen wants to remind you that now is the time to nurture yourself and the people and creations and projects in your life that mean the most to you. Sometimes that reset that the other cards seem to be talking about is all that is needed in order to start experiencing success without having to push and force. The Day of the Goddess, as well as the Queen of Cups, is about intuition as well. Can you afford yourself some time to meditate or do some breath work, sound healing, journaling, etc. to receive your messages and clarity? And bonus points if you can combine that with being outside and connecting with our beautiful Gaia, because grounding is also something that, of course, the cards have said is important, especially if you are feeling a little bit of an imbalance. So I hope this message is resonating for group ones. Let's see what the oracle cards have to say. All right, so the first oracle card we have is, of course, I had to pull the goddesses, the goddess power deck, as well as the priestess of light oracle, and we have Nike, ambition. It's actually glaringly obvious to me that most people that chose group one, if not all of you, probably already have a lot of ambition. But Nike is reminding you that ambition is not the problem. It's definitely a good thing, but if you feel like you've been working so hard and not seeing the results that you want, the block is likely in trying to force where things should be flowing. If you feel that your ambition has been in an ebb and flow, this can be remedied by following the guidance of rest and connection to your inner knowing from the tarot cards. So again, just more confirmation that it's time to let things flow and to rest a little bit more, because that's not saying that you're not ambitious. It's just opening up the doors and the energy for you. And then we have Yihi, the sun. I hope I pronounced that right. I did look it up, but my apologies if I didn't. And the purpose of this whole reading is that it's time to step into your light and let it shine like the sun. That's what Yihi does. This is why truths are illuminated, so that you can allow your most authentic self to shine. Now is your time, group ones. Let yourself be seen. It's no longer time to play small or suppress your own voice. The world needs your words and your energy. Yihi is here to help you stand in your light. So if you feel like you want to call on either Nike or Yihi or any other goddesses over this time, I highly recommend that you do that. All right, we're going to move these over just slightly because I've got more cards coming in. All right, we have friendship, and the themes on friendship are support, joy, and fun. And this is your friendly reminder that you are not here just to work or be serious all of the time. Bring the joy and fun back into your life. This is perfect after the Sun card, because in tarot, the Sun card represents joy and celebration amongst other things. And you can allow yourself to be more, you can allow yourself to have more fun. Your light naturally shines when you allow this, and people feel it, they see it, and they want to be around you. The sun in tarot also represents abundance and success. So think about it. It's actually saying, if I allow myself this downtime and this time for some fun and excitement in my life, then what if I actually do open doors for myself rather than, a lot of the time we think we're closing them because we're not overworking, but that just doesn't work. Don't be afraid to ask for support or get together with your friends over the next few days, whether it's on Friday the 13th or sometime this weekend following it. And you can ask for help in processing any of the messages and truths that come through for you, but also remember not to put their truths above your own, because that's something that a lot of the time is why we're blocked in the ability to express ourselves, is because we're giving too much weight to other people's opinions. And don't be afraid, and pay attention to your energy levels. And pay attention to your energy levels. The cards have been very clear here that while nurturing the relationships that are important to you, it's never a loss to allow yourself time for you. In fact, it will be a gain, is what the cards are saying. And then we have setting boundaries. And wait a minute, what did I just say? It's important to make sure that you are creating balance in your relationships. Setting boundaries is essential to doing this. So don't be afraid to choose yourself when you need to. I'm feeling that this group I'm feeling that this group, one of the large boundaries that might be a struggle is time and energy. So please pay attention to where you are specifically spreading yourself too thin in regard to this, and allow yourself to speak and uphold your boundaries on this. It's not selfish to choose to spend time alone when you need to rest. And the people who are truly there for you will understand this, even if some of them take it personally at first, especially if you're somebody who is really new to setting boundaries and speaking those out for people. Remind them that it's not anything against them and that you invite them to share their boundaries with you as well, because it is a two-way street. But remember that effective boundary setting does not violate other person's boundaries. So don't get into one of those power matches of, oh, you want me to set my boundaries? Well, they're directly going to negate yours, because obviously if somebody's doing that to you, they don't have your best interest in mind, and vice versa. All right. I'm going to round this reading out for Group 1, Friday the 13th, Day of the Goddess, with an affirmation, and I feel like this one isn't really perfect for this group. I am more than enough. You don't need to give more time, energy, money, what have you, to prove your worth to anyone. You were born worthy, and that never goes away. So don't forget it. You will always be worthy, and you don't need to change or make yourself smaller in order to prove that to anyone. You just need to remember it yourself. I hope this message blesses you, Group 1. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and I hope to see you soon. Welcome back, Group 2. This is your reading. If you chose this beautiful peach moonstone up here, if that's looking familiar, stick around. And this is your reading specifically for Goddess Day, which is Friday the 13th. But if you're watching it at any other time and you're drawn to it, then why don't you stick around, because really these messages are timeless. So with that said, we're starting out strong with the Empress. I'm not surprised to see her in someone's reading. And Group 2, you are the lucky ones. She is the Divine Mother herself, which I think is really fitting for Goddess Day. And in some traditions, it's believed that Friday the 13th is all about celebrating fertility, creation, motherhood, and the death and rebirth cycle. So the Empress does embody a lot of that energy, especially the motherhood and things like that. So the Empress is asking you to look at what in your life needs more nurture, love, and attention, because chances are that those of you in Group 2 are really good at nurturing others. You probably have a natural ability to show others love and compassion and genuinely enjoy showing your support. But if you've ever felt like the things that you wish to create in your life are not growing, it's time to water them. Goddess Day for Group 2 is about tending to your own needs for once and nurturing the things you want to see growth in. The Empress is a great sign of abundance, and she urges you to connect to your feminine power. I also feel like she's in this reading with a big message regarding your body or bodies. She wants you to remind you to respect and love your bodies a little bit more and connect with your innate sensuality in whatever way resonates with you. So respecting the body more, loving on her more, or him, what have you. All right. And then we have the 10 of Cups. Remember that you can't pour from an empty cup. So it feels like the 10 of Cups is coming in after the Empress as a friendly reminder that taking some time out to connect with and love on yourself and your own creative pursuits is actually going to expand your ability to love and nurture those around you. So if you have felt any disharmony in your personal relationships and home life, this is a sign that things are going to balance out and joy and abundance is coming your way. Some of you might be celebrating a specific milestone in your family, a new member on its way, or maybe even some sort of change like a proposal in the near future. For those of you who are looking to expand your friend group and community, this is a good sign that if you spend time focused on that intention and actually put yourself out there, then soul family is on its way. Take this time to celebrate your family connections, including your chosen family. But also remember not to neglect yourself and the pieces of you that need tending to at this time. All right, so we've got the Page of Wands next. There's a new inspiration trying to come in for Group 2s. Goddess Day is asking you to connect to your intuition and be open to new ways of seeing the world. Ways that are heart-led and full of passion and excitement. You might find that you feel energized by spending time with your loved ones and celebrating the family and friendships that you've created. As well as mentioned before, perhaps more people are trying to come in and connect with you around this time. Goddess Day is helping you open that door. So if you're looking for community and stuff like that, Goddess Day might be a turning point. All right. Hear me out. We have the Tower. I know that most of us don't like seeing the Tower pop up in a reading because many of us have had our fair share of actual Tower moments in our lives. But in this reading, I'm getting a letting go energy that is needed and almost welcomed. It feels largely around belief systems and stories you've been telling for far too long, and it's time to tear them down and step into the new. It's also holding on to the past, knowing that it's time to leave it there. Because carrying it with you isn't an option anymore. Seeing beyond the illusions that have been created is often not easy in the moment, but you will thank yourself later. To be clear, this feels like perspectives and limiting beliefs coming to light that have been trying to be seen for a while. You are relatively aware of their existence, but haven't allowed yourself to see them fully. This feels like you're seeing yourself fully for the first time and being able to experience yourself in a way that is authentic and real. And this will likely affect your personal relationships and family, I can't say that word, family connections, but for the better. Because when you are able to see yourself and accept yourself, you experience your relationships in a different way. You show up different, and your perception of yourself directly affects how you experience relationships. Let's see what else here. Okay, this is our final tarot card. With this perspective shift and you aligning to your true self, it's going to give you or cause a breakthrough, and you're going to break through the barrier of illusion and open up countless opportunities for you. That's what I'm feeling for group 2s. Really, the sky is the limit. But always remember that following your intuition and trusting it will lead you to the path that is most aligned to you. And try not to get overwhelmed if you are supplied with too many choices, because as long as you're tuning back in with yourself, it's going to be clear what truly matters to you, what's truly aligned to you. All right, next we're going to look at our oracle cards. Okay, next we have, I'm going to put these out at the same time, I think. We have River of Blessings and Touching the Earth. So River of Blessings is more confirmation on what I believe Spirit was saying with the Tower, and Spirit's reassuring group 2 that the Tower is actually helping you to release constraints that have been put on you through outdated belief systems and stories. And in embracing this journey and stepping into the new and unknown, you will receive abundance and blessings, or an abundance of blessings, maybe I should say. And then touching earth is planting something new, more confirmation that something new is trying to come in for you. And what are you intentionally planting? This feels very Empress-like energy. Like she's connected to this part of the reading as she's connected to the earth and sometimes she's actually depicted as Mother Earth. So she's very deeply connected to the earth. So group 2 might find it specifically helpful that on Goddess Day, you might want to actually plant something into the earth or into a pot as a way of symbolizing inviting in the new. Just want to straighten those out a little bit. Okay, so we have 2 more, and actually I'm going to slide these over. 2 more end in affirmation. These are our goddesses for group 2. We've got Hecate, who's the in-between. This is a reference to being between your old self or reality and the new one. And right now, group 2s, you may be feeling like you're on the verge of a breakthrough, but at the same time, things are standing still. Hecate's advice is to trust that things are about to change, and you are aligning yourself with the new and will be stepping into it soon enough. Try not to let fear stop you, and there will be fear, undoubtedly, but there's always a way, but there always is when there's something new. So just because you are fearful doesn't mean that you have to throw in the towel, because you're always going to be that way, is what I'm trying to say. And in choosing to do it anyway, you're choosing forward movement, is basically what Hecate wants you to know. By the way, if you feel called to work with either of these goddesses over Goddess Day or any other time, that might be a good idea, being that they came up in your reading. So then we have Epona, and this is wise leadership. And really the first thing that came through is follow your intuition more, listen to it more. Wise leadership is the embodiment of the divine feminine who leads with love and compassion. And there is a level of trust and surrender involved here, because Epona is basically saying, follow your heart and lead from that space. Pay attention to what is asking to be born into this world, and try not to let self-doubt get in the way, because you can be a vessel for greatness to be born into this world. So you can be that vessel, but you have to not let the self-doubt win, basically. All right, and this is the final card for group number 2 for Goddess Day. And it's your affirmation: I must jump first. I know the universe will catch me. I must jump first. I know the universe will catch me. And I think this is absolutely perfect for group 2, because it looks like you guys are on, or ladies, or whatever, are on quite the journey of transformation and self-discovery right now. But remember that while you can't control everything in your lives, you still usually need to choose it in order for things to change. So choosing to jump first rather than waiting for something to happen that might never happen. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you every single time you allow me to read for you, and I hope to see you soon. Have an amazing day, and let me know in the comments, how are you celebrating Goddess Day? All right, welcome back. Group 3, if you chose the amethyst crystal, my birthstone, then this reading is for you for Goddess Day, which is Friday the 13th, or if you're listening to it and drawn to it at any other time, like I said, that's totally okay, because really these messages are timeless. It's just that perhaps the energy might be a little bit more potent for your utilization, I guess, during the Goddess Day energy. And I apologize if we're hearing the squeaking brakes in the background. That's going on outside, and I can't do much about it. But first off, we have the 3 of Wands. Have you been sensing expansion in your life lately, group 3? So I'm feeling like maybe you have, but you haven't quite seen it yet. It looks like this is an indication that things are about to start opening up for you. The work that you have put in is starting to gain momentum, so just be aware of that. And it's going to push you closer to your goal. But remember that you have unlimited potential and there are unlimited potentials, I should say, and allowing yourself to look at multiple possibilities and perspectives could be beneficial. So, in other words, don't pigeonhole yourself if you can get away with it. And in order to, or if you want me to say it this way, in order to expand, you often have to broaden your horizon a little bit. Yeah, I know that was a little bit cheesy, but that's what I'm here for. All right, so the next card we have is Two of Cups in reverse. Goddess Day is the perfect day to connect back into yourself and spend some time intentionally loving on you. And I feel like that's what the Two of Cups is trying to say here. Rebuilding your or strengthening your connection with yourself is the only way to build strong and healthy relationships with others. No matter what type of growth you're hoping for in your life, this is the key to helping you to get the ball rolling. So what self-love practices are you going to focus on Goddess Day? Or the Day of the Goddess. All right. And we have the Four of Pentacles coming in next. In group threes, you may have felt a bit of a wall of protection up right now. Or you might be feeling that, I should say. That's what I'm feeling coming in reading this, is that there's a wall of protection up right now for a lot of you. And while it might feel like it's the right thing because it's keeping you quote unquote safe, what it's actually doing is ensuring that you stay right where you are. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with your current reality, but if you're here listening to this reading, that's a pretty good indication that you actually want to experience more in your life. You know, there's something more out there for you. And some of you might also be blocking further success by clinging to things like money and material possessions too tightly. It's wise to save and set yourself up for financial security, don't get me wrong, but it's important to call it what it is. Are you afraid of losing it or not having enough? If yes, then it's time to reevaluate your situation, because you're probably closing yourself off in some ways to expansion that is waiting for you. The remedy can be as quote unquote simple as choosing to open to the possibilities, as well as focusing on the self-love game. So lots of self-love and just looking at, do you have any walls up, whether or not they are financial, regarding financials and things like that, or relationships and not wanting to get too connected and too open, anything where you might have walls up, looking at that. And then we have the Hermit. This reading is very, very inner focused. I mean, yes, they all tend to be that way, but this one is really saying like, it's time to go on that inner journey, and group threes, are you willing to do it? Because the truth of the matter is, any answers that you are seeking are not outside of yourself. You are the only person who knows what's really going on. It feels like there are some big ahas in what's really going on that are available to you. And it feels like just spending some alone time, like that's what it requires. So not only just spending alone time, but quieting the noise. So what I'm not saying is spending time alone to watch TV or scroll on the socials, but to tune within yourself. That's the purpose of the alone time, is for like meditation and things like that. So this doesn't mean that I'm saying you should be isolating yourself on the Day of the Goddess either. but more so giving yourself a little bit of time to be in the quiet. So it doesn't have to be the whole day or the whole evening or whatever. But if you're looking for clarity in your life, or you're not quite sure how to move forward in some ways, then this is your invitation really to take some time out and allow yourself to meditate and be in your own energy without distraction, or as close to that as you can get. Because I know it's hard to not have any distraction, but hopefully you know what I mean. Sorry, this one feels like it's really lopsided. I don't know what's going on here. Don't mind me while I just reconfigure group 3 a little bit. All right. Finally, good news, we have Ace of Pentacles. It looks like by spending some time going within and treating yourself with love and compassion, new opportunities are opening up for you. Like I said at the start of this reading, expansion is really headed your way for group 2s. And the good news is that whatever new opportunities that are popping up, they have the potential of building true financial success and security. So some of you might be finding even a new job or a new career path soon. And also I'm feeling like just having a new outlook on money, on your foundation, like your security, whether it's financial or other. Just having a new insight on that is another thing that feels like it's coming through. I'm going to go ahead and put both goddesses out first so you can see who we've got, because perhaps you want to work with them during this time if you feel called. And I am not 100% sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Hestia or Estia is representing home right now. And home is where you make it. And I know that sounds cliche, but really what I mean by that is not even your physical home, but the home of your soul, which is your own skin, your body. Goddess energy is about loving yourself and the vessel that houses your soul, like I said. So in case you haven't picked up on it by now, Goddess Day is about loving yourself inside out. That's what Hestia, Estia, please don't come for me, but you can tell me how to pronounce it, is saying here. And then we have Nyx and Secrets. And Nyx is reminding you that the things that you want insight on can't be forced. So this is more about like trying to tap into the secrets of the universe, or, you know, like the secrets of making things easier, but really we can't skip the work. And you can't force it either. You can only become privy to the deep inner secrets when you allow yourself to go within and actually see them. So yeah, we've got a theme going on here in case you haven't noticed. And it is kind of cool how the colors in these two cards are very similar too. They will be in this next deck, I think, because there's not as many colors used, but this one is quite a bit more colorful. All right. Yes, I'm just mumbling to myself. So with that, here are the last two cards besides our affirmation. We've got the Summoning Power, Instinct, Intellect, and Control. And this card feels very strongly connected to the Hermit and the Four of Pentacles in the reading. It's not about having more control, but remembering that when you're being too controlling and protective, you can block more blessings from coming in. And hearing yourself and trusting your own instincts on things, not your ego, will show you how powerful you actually are. And connecting to that hermit energy is all about uncovering your inner wisdom. And the divine feminine next to it, which totally fitting for divine feminine, goddess day, whatever you choose to call it. And the themes here are magnetic and receptive power. And this is your sign that goddess day can help you open up to some true abundance. But it requires being open to receive. Perhaps even play a little game with this if you're somebody who has a hard time receiving or a hard time believing that you can. And try to manifest something small, like maybe a free coffee or something. Something fun that I've done before is I wanted a croissant really bad. And I just kept thinking about that croissant and I was like, somehow I'm going to have that croissant by the end of the day. I didn't say anything to anyone about it, and my husband came home with croissants, which is not something that we normally do. We don't normally have croissants in the house. So that's what I'm saying, is just play a little game. If you're somebody who goes out and gets coffee a lot, you can say, I'm manifesting a free coffee, and see what happens. Because sometimes we just need that little bit of evidence before we can really open up to our own magnetism. All right, with that said, let's look at the affirmation for group 3s, and it's all of my emotions are part of my human experience. Yeah, and that's really important to look at, because so often I think that we try to avoid or push down our emotions, and that could very well be a little bit of what's going on with the Two of Cups reversed for sure, as well as the Four of Pentacles. So those two cards, and kind of suppressing or not really wanting to feel those emotions. So remember that this is all part of the human experience. And when people say like positive vibes only, of course, what they mean is people that generally live a fairly positive life and are not in the negative all of the time. But it can really come off as, I only should be in a good mood. I should only have positive thoughts and positive feelings. And that's just not how it goes, because we, like I said, we're here to have the full experience. And when we focus on just like, I have to be happy, first of all, a lot of the time we're not actually going to feel happy. It's just faking it. And second of all, we're pushing down those other emotions, because the truth is they don't exist. The higher vibrational emotions don't exist with the lower vibrational emotions, without them, I should say. So I'll get off that topic now and say thank you so much, group 3, for joining me. I hope this reading blesses you and you have the most amazing goddess day, or whatever day you choose to listen to this, and I hope to see you soon. I have to say. Welcome back, group 4. This is your reading if you chose that beautiful, shiny citrine at the top. And I don't blame you if you did choose that one, because it's gorgeous and it is giving like abundant goddess vibes. I know you can barely see it in this frame, but she's there. We'll push her up a little bit. All right, so let's get started with the tarot cards for your reading. And again, this is for Friday the 13th, aka Goddess Day. But if you're watching this at any other time and you're feeling drawn to it, then listen to that, because really these messages are timeless. The whole point is that perhaps I'm giving you the energy, the message that you need to help utilize the energies specifically for Goddess Day. But other than that, these are timeless messages. All right, group 4s. What in your life feels stuck right now? Notice in this card, the woman looks like she feels trapped with no way out, but really the swords aren't keeping her in. It's what the swords represent, which are her thoughts. So whatever in your life feels like it's impossible to gain momentum on, this card is saying, hey, it's all in your head. And I don't say this to minimize things, but remember that our thoughts create our reality. And so on Goddess Day, it might be a good day to look at where you're holding yourself hostage by living in the constraints of limiting beliefs. This card also pops up when you are giving your power away to others by staying in victim mentality or valuing their views of you over your own. If this is resonating in any way, this is your invitation to do some mindset work and stop doubting yourself. And the lovers are like, hey, and not only stop doubting yourself, but have more love and compassion for yourself. How would you show up in the world if you were allowing yourself to be led by your heart and not your ego? This card represents deep connection, usually with others, but as I always remind people, how we view and treat ourselves will directly reflect in our experiences and relationships with others. So right now, this feels like it's tuning within a little bit more and looking at where you can deepen the connection with yourself and your higher self. So there is a connection piece there, but it's more so with self and higher self. And when you tune into your heart, what do you see? It's time to break free from the mind prison in the Eight of Swords as well. Because when you break the chains of limitation, King of Wands, largely created by your own mind, or namely your ego, you get to reclaim your power. The king doesn't go unnoticed because he stands strong and leads from passion. The cards are being very clear that it's time to call back your power wherever you might have been handing it out to others, whether it was intentional or not. Call it back. It's time for you to stand in the confidence of your own energy. And the only way to do that is to allow yourself to see who you truly are. And because the king is a fierce leader, he's saying, where are you leading? Now is not the time, to be led. Now is not the time to be led. And especially not by your ego. Yes, ego is coming up again, not to pick on you. We all have ego. But it's not a time to be led by others or your ego. And it's time to look at if you could share exactly who you are and what you stand for in this moment without worrying about how it would be received. What would that look like? What would that be? Mulling that over. But first, doing this work, because you might not actually know the answer to that question yet if you're still a little bit over here and needing to do a little bit more work. But that is a question for reflection, especially around this Goddess Day energy, if you will. All right, we have Seven of Wands. If one message is coming up in some shape or form in every reading, it's this. It's time to stand in your truth. But before you can do that, you have to allow yourself to see it. You do not have to convince anyone else to see you or hear you. But you do have the right to express yourself. So the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes we get in these loops of, and especially because that's what this card often means, is I need to stand up for my truth. I need to stand up and say something, and I need to be heard. But in this case, the only person that actually needs to hear you is you. And the only person that has to agree with you is you. So, like I said, remember, this isn't about trying to convince anyone else, but you do have the ability to, and you should, express yourself. Don't suppress your voice. And this is really a reminder that your voice is powerful when you speak from a place of authenticity and deep inner truth. Not everyone is going to follow in order, and they don't need to, in order for you to be validated, because you're the only person that needs to be sold on it. And then we have Judgment. The whole reading has been leading up to this card. You're about to experience soul alignment. Do you ever notice how things often seem particularly challenging or chaotic right before you experience a big shift in your life? Well, that's what is happening here. So if this is feeling a bit chaotic or heavy, that's why. Because you're actually opening up for a big shift. There are big energies and themes showing up to let you know that there's a bit more work ahead, but you're on the transformation train. You are about to awaken to a deeper understanding of yourself, and even I'm feeling like it's purpose type energy. So hopefully that's exciting for most of you. And remember that purpose isn't always like this big grandiose thing that we make it out to be, and it's often not our career. A lot of the times you're already living your purpose. It just is nice to have the confirmation that you're in alignment, and that maybe there's just some things that need to be tweaked so that you can amplify your light. All right, we have Sacred Breath and Sound, which is life force, communication. And if you're feeling like it's a bit of a struggle to connect in with yourself, perhaps try a sound healing or breathwork session. If you can't attend one, there's plenty of online resources, and it doesn't have to be this big whole session or anything like that. There's tons of like breathing exercises and just consciously breathing, as well as tons of sound healings and sound baths online. Pick one that resonates with you and make sure to listen to that. And this can be particularly helpful for those of you who are really in the process of shedding a lot of old narratives at this time, to help calm the nervous system. It will make things move a little bit smoother. And then we have idyllic times, the garden, and paradise are the themes. And what I'm hearing the message to be is the seeds you plant are growing into your own version of paradise. The seeds you plant are growing into your own version of paradise. And I didn't actually say this, or I did say this with the last group. I wasn't necessarily going to say it with this group, but I will. I'll share it with this group as well. I was feeling with the last group that an activity that they could do was plant something in the earth, or if they don't have a place for that, it's fine to put it in a pot as a representation of what they're growing. So in nurturing that, it's kind of representative of what they're nurturing within themselves and what they're growing into in their own transformation or their own journey, I guess. And so if you're feeling called to do that, being that this quote that came up is actually talking about seeds being planted, you're certainly welcome to join those in group 3 that decided to do that. All right, with that said, I'll stop mumbling about that and read these two cards. We've got Shakti, and that is transformation. Need I say more? Because that's kind of all we've been talking about, so I'm not going to say more. And then we have Lakshmi, fortune. And with that, also not much to say, because good fortune is just, it's coming your way. That's what I'm really feeling. And especially for those of you who are choosing to do the deep inner work, that's the reward for the work, is good fortune, abundance, etc. And feel free to work with Shakti or Lakshmi over this time if that's something that resonates with you. And finally, here is our, got sweaty, our affirmation for group number 4. And it's, when my dreams feel scary, it means I am on the right path. When my dreams feel scary, it means that I am on the right path. Heck yes. That's all I have to say about that. Things are going to feel a little bit scary, a little bit challenging, and it's opening you up to level up. So this feels really exciting for group 4s. I hope you are also excited. I know there's a bit of work to be had, but when is that not the case? I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and have an amazing day. Have an amazing day is what I meant to say.